Okay, let's start with the climate. That's always important. Wherever you're going to retire to, you want a good climate. Climate in Thailand is probably one of the best climates in the world. The country has a wet season. In fact, we're in the wet season now. This is a day in the wet season. So it doesn't rain every day. In fact, in some wet seasons you hardly get any rain. I don't know if that's global warming, but wet season here, to me, I find sometimes it's a good thing, because you can do indoor things, and I quite enjoy spending a little bit of time indoors. You spend most of the time outdoors for 10 months of the year, so for a couple of months it's nice to do some inside things. I use the time to write my books, because I'm a bit of an author, and I like to sit and read a book even, listen to the rain outside. It's quite relaxing. So the climate is very important, but don't worry about the wet season here. A lot of people might say, oh, it rains all the time. It doesn't rain a lot. The wet season is not as bad as what a lot of people say. Well, not for me anyway. As I say, I enjoy it. Okay, let's go to number 2 on my list, and that would be the beautiful beaches and islands that surround Thailand. Places like Phi Phi Island, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, Phuket, for islands. That's just a few of them. There's so many more. And then the beach towns of Krabi and Pattaya, Hua Hin, where I am now. So many of them, too many to list. And then we have the rural towns, which also are very special, and each one having different ways of living, some of them different accents, some of them different languages. Even Isan has its own language. They still speak with a Thai as well, but they have their own language too. Their own cuisine, their different types of food. So everywhere in Thailand is different, and it's such a diverse country and such a beautiful country. You can never get bored with it. I know I won't ever get bored with it. There's always a new place to visit. And now, even more so, because of COVID, the beaches and the surrounding areas are pristine, because they don't have any tourism here anymore. So what used to be busy beach towns like Koh Samui or Phuket are now virtually like they were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, before tourism really took over Thailand, and the country changed in a big way to accommodate all these tourists who discovered it. Now we're going back to how it used to be years ago, and for me that's great. I do miss some things, because obviously the bars aren't open as much, and there's not a lot of restaurants have closed down, but it's still beautiful now, because you don't have the influx of tourists. I think there was 40 million tourists came in 2020, so that's a lot of people who come into the country, and they all need looking after and feeding and hotels. So the towns and beaches are quite full during those times, or they were before COVID. So that brings us to number 3 on my list of pros versus cons, and that would be the people of Thailand. They are a very friendly, nice group of people. They're welcoming to new arrivals. They welcome people to their country. I've never, all the years I've lived here, I've been coming here, I've never been made to feel like a stranger or as if I'm not welcome. And they go out the way to help you. If you have a problem, I live in these condos, there's quite a few Thai people. If I have a problem, they're there to help me. They don't think, oh no, he's Farang, let's stick with our own. They're there to help, and they do. Even with the the pandemic that's devastated their country, it's the same happy, smiling, optimistic people as they always have been. And I don't think anything will ever squash that spirit. I feel connected to Thai people. I feel I just love the way they look at life. I know, for me, I'm one of these people that something goes wrong, I think, oh, why me? But these people, they just roll the sleeves up and get on with it and think, okay, this has happened, how can we beat it? What can we do? How can we fix this? So yes, I've got a great respect for the Thai people, and it's a good reason to put down for why you should come here or make Thailand your home in retirement. So that brings us to number four, I think. Safety. For me, Thailand is one of the safest countries in the world that I have ever visited. I've worked at sea all my life. I've travelled the world. There's not a lot of countries I haven't seen. I've lived in 10 countries. But Thailand is as safe a country as I've ever been in. There's very little crime in general, and crime against expats is very rare. I can leave my jacket and helmet and my shopping on a motorcycle in a car park or on the street, and I can go away for an hour to do something, and when I come back it's all going to be there. I know no one's going to take it. Maybe it's the Buddhist teachings about respecting people and animals and people's property, because 95% of the Thai people are Buddhist. Or maybe it's because they're raised by their families to respect other people and their property. But whatever it is, I've got no idea what makes Thailand different than most Western countries when it comes to safety and crime. But whatever it is, it works. This is a very, very safe country. So here we come to number 5 on the pros list, and which for me is probably the most important reason for coming to live in Thailand, or for me that was the most important reason, and that would be the cost of living. I live here for a fraction of what it would cost me to live in my adopted country of Australia, or my country of birth, England, or the USA. I live here for a fraction of that cost. Property, food, drink, petrol, rent, hotels if I'm travelling, or the cost of travelling around Thailand, a lot less than what I would pay in Western countries. And my pension dollar stretches so much further here than it would if I lived in Australia. If I lived in Australia, I'd survive, but I wouldn't get the lifestyle that I have here, living the life that I have here. And it just allows me to do so much more by bringing my pension here and living off it here. I live a good life. I have no complaints. So for me, that's a very big factor in why I chose Thailand to retire to. So last but not least, my 6th good reason for living here in Thailand, which is the hospitals and the medical facilities. Before Corona stopped people from travelling, Thailand was ranked number 10 in the world for medical tourism, with over 3 million people coming to the country in 2019 for medical procedures. So they must be doing something right. It was very important for me when I was making the decision of where I was going to retire that I could afford medical and dental procedures. Thailand for me was the obvious choice, with its low cost hospitals and dentists and their professional medical teams. There are many other countries around the world that welcome expat retirees that have a lot to offer as far as climate, lifestyle, cost of living, entertainment are concerned, some of those countries are sadly lacking when it comes to medical facilities. So if you're thinking of retiring to a country where your pension dollar stretches further than your own country, keep in mind that one of the main priorities of any retirement destination is good, affordable healthcare, and you'll find that in Thailand. So that's my take on the pros and cons of living here in Thailand. As you can see, the pros far outweigh the cons. There's not that many bad things about living here. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying watching my videos as much as I'm enjoying making them. Please subscribe. Subscribing is at no cost to yourself. You just push that button and to subscribe, and when I place a video on YouTube, then YouTube will send you a message saying that I have a video for you to watch. So once again, thanks a lot and stay safe.